Hello, I'm Bjorn, and to tell y'all the truth, I've been putting this one off. I might look a little disheveled today, right? And that's because, as some of y'all might remember, if you watched the intro, like introducing the characters video, I don't want to make this series. This is not a movie I wanted to write, but some jerk in my comments, figured out that I'm an ancient immortal evil being bound by laws beyond my control and bound me by Beetlejuice rules by requesting this 3 times. I don't like being bound by Beetlejuice rules. I mean, it literally rips my soul apart that I, put this video off as long as I did, which is annoying, right? That's frankly, it's very irritating to me to have to deal with this. But whatever. You want to buy me by Beetlejuice rules, request something 3 times, go ahead. Whatever. Here's the first act. Let's just get into it. At least like and subscribe to, make me feel better for having taken away my free will. We're going to open on China. We see a large television screen with a wanted sign depicting a woman with blonde hair and blue eyes. It says enemy of the state in Chinese beneath her. A 50,000 currency reward, we'll say 50,000 USD, whatever that translates to, is being offered. The camera pans down until we see a woman matching her description. She's wearing a hood and she ducks into an alleyway. Just as a cop car goes by, she's clutching something in her hand. We can see it's a flash drive. The woman slides the drive into a hole, then slides a loose brick back over it. She runs back into the street. Suddenly, a red rocket clashes into the ground in front of her. He's in like a mechanized suit. He looks exactly, basically, like the comic book version of the Red Rockets. I love this design. So we're going to stick with that. He holds out a hand, and a gun flips up into the wrist. Another rocket lands behind her. She's pinned in. The rocket says, "Surrender now, fugitive of the state. You are surrounded. Drop your weapon." The woman slowly sets the gun that's in her hand on the floor. The red rockets quickly move in and apprehend her. They drag her off as we slowly zoom into the secret hiding spot. We pass through the brick until we can see the small flash drive placed there. We're going to cut to a warehouse district. We see a large warehouse in the middle of a grimy district of Metropolis. A man in a garishly colored suit approaches the warehouse. 2 armed thugs standing in front of it stop him. The man says, "Oi, blimey, I'm here for the meeting. You're supposed to be expecting me." And I will apologize in advance. I can do many accents, but British is not one of them. This will be my best approximation. It's probably going to drift into Australian or something else. So just bear with me on that. Just imagine it's a really good Cockney British accent that I'm expertly pulling off with such skill that you can't believe it's even me. The thug says, "Pat him down," and the second thug approaches the man. The man in the suit puts his hands up into the air. We can see a small knife hidden, pressed between his fingers. As the man pats him down, he slides the knife around, using sleight of hand to move it in and out of pockets and behind his fingers, moving it around so it's always avoiding getting detected. When the man's done patting him down, we see Rainbow Man carefully slide the knife back into his pocket. The thug says, "He's clean," and the other one says, "All right, go in." Rainbow Man smiles and enters the warehouse. He finds a single man sitting alone in a nice black suit. He sits on a stool in the middle of the warehouse. The rest of the building is empty. The walls of the warehouse are rusted and covered in grime. It's filthy, and it looks like no one's been in there forever. There's another stool sitting right in front of the man in the suit. Our garishly colored man, who I'm going to start calling Rainbow Man because that's who he is, walks in and begins to approach him. The man in the suit says, "Take a seat." Rainbow Man sits right in front of him. "I like what you done with the place. Real rustic look." The man in the suit doesn't look impressed. He says, "So you're the guy. Not what I expected." Rainbow Man says, "I rarely am." The man in the suit says, "So, why should I go with you?" Rainbow Man smiles. "That's easy, mate. I'm the best there ever was. If your guy's in prison, I can get him out. It's what I do." The man in the suit says, "I've heard about your so-called escape artistry." Rainbow Man stops him. "I prefer the term get out guy, less formal." Thug says, "Fine, call it whatever you want. Why should I believe you're the best?" Rainbow Man laughs. Let me spell it out for you, mate. I was born to escape. Literally. I pulled my first job when I was 6 months old. Climbed right out of my crib. It was a Gerber T70 Nitro. One hell of a crib. Most secure one on the market, they said. My mom couldn't believe it. I was just that good. We see a younger Rainbow Man escaping from a pair of handcuffs in a flashback. By the time I was 12, I was your regular Houdini. I could escape from straitjackets, handcuffs, even ropes. I was a bloody natural. So when my metahuman powers kicked in, I took it to the next level. I robbed banks, and I always got away. We see a shot of him running out of a bank carrying a bag of cash. Colors seem to bleed off the walls and cling to him like water. Cash from the bag flies away behind him, and we can see the green being pulled off of it and dragged towards him. Suddenly, we see Green Lantern run right in front of him with an unamused face. The man says, "Until I didn't." But I didn't stay in prison long. When I was 18, I pulled my second escape job by busting out of Iron Heights. That was what gave me a taste for prison escapes. I did it 4 more times. Mind you, the 4th time was just for the fun of it. It was after that I realized I could make a certain career out of it. So here we are. You get it now? I'm the best who ever lived, mate. The man in the suit says, "Say I believe that. Say I think you're the best to ever take a shit. Someone in our line of work is only as good as their crew. The weak link breaks the chain. Cause from what I've seen, your get out guys seem like a bunch of clowns." Rainbow Man says, "Then you're underestimating them. If I'm the best who ever lived, they're the best crew ever assembled." The man says, "Sell me." Rainbow Man says, "You got Mirror Master." Yeah, Mirror? How do fucking Brits say mirror? You got Mirror Master. He needs no introduction, I'm sure. Honestly, if it weren't for his alimony payments, I don't think I could have gotten him in the first place. Guy can get anywhere, and I mean anywhere. All you need is a reflective surface. Makes doing a job quietly feasible for us. His greatest asset is that he's professional. He always sticks to the job and never lets himself get distracted by bullshit. The man in the suit says, "I know, Mirror Master. It's the others I'm worried about. What about these so-called eraser? I mean, look at this. You expect me to take this seriously?" He slides across a picture of a man dressed in a pencil outfit. Rainbow Man says, "That's an old picture. Honestly, they should have put his tailor in prison. The guy was a real criminal. You have to look past the outfit and look at the resume. Guy did 6 stints in Waller's Suicide Squad. I'm sure you read about that in the papers. You know the kind of shit they got up to. His power makes him convenient, you see. He can make anything disappear with a touch. Thing is, Waller used him like a garbage can, making our dirty laundry disappear." We're gonna cut to a brief flashback. We see Eraser in a nice house. There's a decapitated body in front of him. He sighs and touches it, and it vanishes into a flash of light, leaving behind only the head. We see Sportsmaster walk into view. He sarcastically points to the head. "You missed a spot." Eraser sighs and walks over to the head, erasing it too. We're gonna cut back to Rainbow Man. He hated his line of work, of course. Who could blame him? Erasing bodies all day? It's fucking dreadful. What made the Eraser catch my eye wasn't his powers. It was the fact that he was the only bastard I know to walk right out of Waller's Suicide Squad. He erased the bomb right out of his head, and then erased the walls of his cell. Told me everything I needed to know. And this is definitely slipping into Australian. Fuck it, Rainbow Man's Australian now. We're changing it, it's canon. Thug says, "And what about Martin Smith?" Rainbow Man says, "I said the Mirror Master was for the quiet way. Detonator is for the loud option. We have clients who like to make a noteworthy escape. A lot of them Gotham twats. He's good at what he does, which is blowing shit up. And he's got the resume to back it up. And this new girl." Rainbow Man looks confused. "How do you know about her?" The man says, "I told you, my boss is thorough." Rainbow Man says, "Right. She calls herself the Mind Boggler. She's a mind controller, one of the best I've ever seen. We've come to an arrangement, and she's agreed to help us with a few jobs. This operation will be her trial run. She's a bit screwy in the head, but I'll vouch for her based on what I've seen. And that's all of them. I think their talents speak for themselves. As I said, we're the best to ever do it, and we have one question left to answer. Do you want it loud or do you want it quiet? The man says, quiet. Rainbow Man says, quiet it is. Then we have a deal. The thug hands Rainbow Man a file, and Rainbow Man snatches it with a smug face. The thug says, get him out or there will be consequences. Rainbow Man says, relax, mate. It's what I do. I haven't failed yet, and I run a real professional operation. We're gonna hard cut to a really shitty apartment. We see the Get Out guy sitting on an old stained couch and some metal folding chairs. Rainbow Man stands in front of a whiteboard. We can see pictures posted to it held on with Justice League themed magnets. Rainbow Man says, it's a pretty easy gig. Target is one Michael Bundy, aka the Seattle Slasher. Detonator says, oh shit, you mean that guy who dumped hacked up women under a bridge? Eraser says, no, that was the Gotham Gutter. I know this one, unfortunately. He ate his victims. The guy's a cannibal. And a massive asshole. And a really shitty roommate. Rainbow Man says, yep, that's the one, cannibal. Mirror Master laughs. A cannibal? How could he afford us? Rainbow Man says, probably got some wealthy cannibal friends or something. I don't care what he eats. The point is, he can pay. And that's what's important. Detonator says, which prison is he being held in? Rainbow Man says, he's in Arkham, South Wing. Eraser says, he ate a guy's ear off in Belle Reve, so they sent him to Arkham. He's a fucking psycho. Detonator says, I mean, he did chop up and eat people. I think it'd be weirder if he isn't a psycho. Mirror Master says, I just think the job seems too easy. What's the catch? Rainbow Man says, I can't find one, except for these people the Slashers got working for him. They really went above and beyond with the whole bringing me to the warehouse shite. Really unnecessary. Could have just sent me an email like everyone else. They were kind of scary. I don't want to piss these fuckers off. We're going to do this one clean. Eraser asks, do they want it loud or quiet? Rainbow Man says, quiet. Real specific about that. Eraser says, looks like it's you and me, Mirror Master. Mirror Master just grunts. Detonator says, damn it! The last 3 have been quiet. I want a loud one. I'm all pent up and I can't blow anything up. I want to kill some fucking people. Rainbow Man says, the next one will be loud. You can blow up as many people as you want. Fuck, maybe you'll get to blow up an orphanage or something. Detonator says, yeah, I'd like that. I've never blown up an orphanage before. That's going on my bucket list. Rainbow Man says, oh yeah, one more thing. This is the first run we're going to be taking Mindboggler on. The group shares nervous looks. Eraser says, are you sure that's a good idea? Rainbow Man says, relatively. I've got a good eye for these things. She's a mind controller. Shit's hard to come by. It'll make our lives a lot easier. Eraser says, yeah, but she's, she made a man kill himself on live TV. It was like everywhere. Rainbow Man says, hey, that was one time, and she hasn't done it since. So she's a bit crazy, yeah. So are Detonator and Mirror Master, and they don't bite. Mirror Master turns to look at Eraser and then makes a sarcastic biting towards him. Eraser says, yeah, I guess so. Rainbow Man says, alright, that's that. Let's go. Standard Arkham job. One switch up. Eraser, you're going with Mindboggler. She'll get you right through the front door. Mirror Master will prepare an exit. Eraser, just get to his cell and put up the mirror. You know the gig. Mirror Master will do the rest. Eraser says, yeah, I know the gig. We're going to cut to the parking lot in Arkham. We see Eraser pull up in a car. We can see a punk girl leaning against another car standing there. She waves to him as he pulls up. She looks just like Mindboggler in the comic books, down to the MB on her shirt and the really ridiculous mohawk. In fact, it's going to really fit my iteration of her quite a bit. So, you're Mindboggler? Yep, Eraser says. Ah, okay, so, you ready to do this? Mindboggler shrugs. Of course. Eraser says, alright then, let's get it over with. Eraser and Mindboggler walk right up to the front desk of the prison. It's pretty similar to how you've seen the front entrance of Arkham in a bunch of different media. I'm not really going to reinvent the wheel here. There's a bunch of great Arkham designs. There's a woman at the front desk listening to music. She nods her head back and forth and doesn't pay attention. Mindboggler says, excuse me, The woman doesn't seem to hear her. Mindboggler says, "Hey, dumb bitch! Take out your AirPods." The lady doesn't do anything. Mindboggler rolls her eyes and looks at Eraser. This lady. "Hello, I'm trying to get your attention here." Mindboggler starts jumping up and down. Eraser is just looking around nervously. This is not going well. Finally, Mindboggler just starts banging on the glass. The woman lets out a start and looks up, confused, then takes out her headphone. Mindboggler says, finally! You know how terrible your customer service is? Do you have like a manager I can complain to? Frankly, this whole thing is very rude. Eraser says, "Mindboggler!" The receptionist says, "Wait a minute, I know you. You are the Mindboggler." She starts to run for the panic button. Mindboggler yells, "Stop!" The words echo in the air. The woman freezes mid-movement. We see Eraser frozen in his position. Even his eyes don't move. Mindboggler says, "Oh yeah, Pencil Boy, you're free." He starts moving again, kind of nervously. He says, "What the fuck was that?" Mindboggler says, "My power just sort of affects whoever hears me. I'll try to be more specific next time. These things happen, you know. Anyway, lady, go ahead and open the door for me and my friend here." The words echo in the air ominously. The woman almost turns robotically and flips a switch. We see the inner door open up. "Oh, and go ahead and turn off all the cameras too. Thank you." The woman begins to switch them off one by one. Mindboggler says, "All right, one last thing, lady. You're gonna sit perfectly still and not say a word to anyone for about an hour and a half. Then you're gonna be totally fine. Go ahead and take a seat before you start." The woman robotically takes a seat in her chair, then sits perfectly still, looking forward, unmoving. Eraser looks unnerved. Eraser says, "That is, super fucking creepy." Mindboggler says, "Yeah, you get used to it." We're gonna cut to the prison hall. We see Eraser and Mindboggler turn a corner into the prison block, just in time to see two guards. They kind of stare at each other for a second, then the cops pull their guns and fire a single bullet. In slow motion, we see the bullet go right towards the Eraser. On reflex, he starts to cringe. The bullet passes right through his suit, leaving a hole, but as soon as it touches his skin, it vanishes in the blink of an eye. We don't see a single wound left on him. Mindboggler yells, "Stop firing!" The two guards stop firing their weapons and stare blankly. Mindboggler smiles. "Now, turn the gun on yourself." The two guards slowly begin to turn their guns to point towards their own bodies. The two guards slowly turn their guns to face each other. They begin to aim at each other's heads. We see Mindboggler's smile grow deeper. Eraser's eyes grow wide. Whoa, we don't do that. It's supposed to be quiet, remember? We can't have bodies laying around." Mindboggler slaps her forehead. "Oh yeah, sorry. I'm a ditz. I forgot. It was a force of habit. Put the guns down." The two guards slowly lower their guns. We can see fear in their eyes. Mindboggler says, "You two, turn around and face the corner. Stand there for an hour." The words echo, and the guards follow her orders. Eraser breathes out a sigh of relief. We can see his hand is shaking. He keeps looking up nervously at Mindboggler. Suddenly, we hear banging and cheering. All of the prisoners in their cells are hanging out of their bars and throwing things. They all cheer. Eraser says, "Looks like the welcome party's here." Mindboggler says, "You get this every time?" Eraser says, "Yeah, most times. Come on." They begin to move down the hall. Eventually, we see one man stand out in particular. It's Toyman. I don't know if there's a version of him that's been cast yet, but you could just cast a version of him. This is a fun cameo. He hangs out of his cell and says, "Hey, get out, guys. You got an open spot for next Tuesday?" Eraser says, "Yeah, Toyman, probably. We'll get in touch." Toyman says, "Thanks." Eraser says, "You know, you really should stop getting in here so quickly. We just got you out like, what, 3 weeks ago?" Toyman says, "Yeah, I got right back to work. I was this close, Eraser. I was about to have everything I've ever wanted." Eraser says, "And then the Flash showed up." Right as Toyman says, "And then the Flash." "Hey, yeah, how'd you know?" Eraser says, "That's what you said last time, too." They begin to move past him, and we hear Toyman shout down the hall, "That's because it's what happened last time, too. But next time, I'm gonna get him. You'll see, Eraser." His voice is drowned out by the other cheering people as they move further down the hall. Mindboggler says, "Wow, they really love us. It feels good to be loved." Eraser says, Yeah, they do. A little Too much, as I said. They finally reach the cell they're looking for and stop. There's a single man inside. He has long, unkempt hair and a beard. He looks up confused at all the noise. Then he narrows his eyes at the eraser. Pencil boy, the fuck are you doing here? Eraser says, you have a mysterious benefactor. We're the Get Out guys, and we're here to get you out. Michael Bundry says, no shit. No shit, it's you guys. You're the one everyone loves. Who sent you to get me out? Eraser says, no idea, man. Hence, mysterious benefactor. But we don't have time for this. Eraser takes the key and opens the cell and enters it. He opens up his bag and starts to unfold something. It's a large reflective mat. He opens it up and begins to tape it to the walls until it forms a solid reflective surface. Suddenly, the reflective shapes begin to ripple and Mirror Master steps out. Mirror Master says, right on time. Everything went well, I assume? Eraser says, yeah, mostly. More guards than normal. Mirror Master says, but it looks like you handled it like a champ. This is the client, then? Eraser says, yeah. Mirror Master says, alright, you ready to blow this joint? Michael says, hell yeah. Mirror Master says, step up to the mirror, then walk right into it. The man does, and then vanishes into its reflective surface. The rest of the Get Out guys follow, and then Mirror Master. We watch as Mindboggler emerges into the mirror dimension. It looks exactly like how I described it in Justice League Dark. Just a swirling pattern of reflective surfaces, and inside of them you can catch glimpses into alternate universes. It's unchanged from Justice League Dark and every other time I've ever described the mirror dimension. And if you haven't watched that yet, plug, it's right up here, check it out. It has very loose continuity with this. Mindboggler says, what is this place? Mirror Master says, this is the mirror dimension. Sort of a reflection of the multiverse I can traverse. Mindboggler says, so these are other versions of me? She looks into the reflective surface and we see tons of different versions of her, except they're all committing crimes, torturing people, or having them mind control. In one version, she sits atop an Aztec pyramid and has thousands of people bowing to her. Mirror Master looks around. Yeah, everyone sees versions of themselves reflected here. Slightly different, or mostly the same. It really just depends. He looks into the mosaic of moving mirrors. We briefly see a shot of a Mirror Master holding a kryptonite spear. He faces down Supergirl, who hovers above him, her eyes glowing red. He looks somber, and we can see lots of blood sprayed across Mirror Master's face. Our version of Mirror Master flips off the mirror. Like this asshole. I hate this fucking prick. He's a goody two-shoes Flash wannabe version of me. Frankly, I find him pathetic. The mosaic of mirrors shifts, and inverse Mirror Master is replaced by a version of Mirror Master in a cyberpunk setting. He's battling a version of the Flash with a tech suit. We finally see a shot of the Eraser looking around. Everywhere he looks, we see versions of him inside of the pencil suit. He lets out an exasperated sigh. Eventually, they finally exit the mirror to a street where Rainbow Man is waiting. He shakes hands with the client and says, see, I got you out for your boss nice and peachy clean. Michael Bundry says, about this boss of mine. Rainbow Man shrugs, don't know who he is. Guess you don't either. Bundry shakes his head. Well, best be going to meet him then. We're going to cut back to the warehouse from earlier. We see Rainbow Man and Michael Bundry walk in. There's no thugs outside this time. They enter the warehouse and we see a single man standing there. He's in a nice suit, gray hair, a little bit overweight. Michael immediately smiles and says, so you must be my mysterious benefactor. I guess I owe you a thanks. The man steps out into the light and we can see him clearly. He has an American flag pinned to his lapel. The man says, I wouldn't be too sure. He raises a pencil and shoots Michael in the head. The Seattle Slasher's body falls to the floor. The man puts the pistol away. The man says, thanks for bringing him in to me. That felt nice. Rainbow Man says, what the fuck was that? The man says, he was a rapist and a murderer. You really thought I was going to let him go? Rainbow Man says, I mean, that's usually why people hire us. The man says, not me. This was a test of your skill when you passed. Rainbow Man says, and who are you? The man says, what, you don't vote? No, why would I? The man says, why would... The name is Cray. I'm the senator of New York. Riverman says, oh, yeah, right, that guy. You passed that one bill. I like that. Yeah, real good job. Right, that one. Riverman says, sure. Wait, if you're working for the government... Oh, shite. My fucking team is cooked, aren't they? Cray says, relax, Jonathan. If I wanted to arrest you, I would have done it before I offered you this little test to break the law. You can take the money I gave you already and walk right out of this warehouse right now. I won't stop you. Riverman immediately gets up and starts to leave. Wait! Just a moment more. You should at least hear the offer before you go. It's quite generous. Riverman stops where he was. Generous? Offer? He turns and faces Cray. Now you got my attention. Cray says, I need you to help someone important escape from prison. Riverman looks confused and then says, are you gonna shoot them? Cray says, do you care? Riverman says, no, not really. Just sort of want to be on the same page. Cray says, no, I don't want to shoot them. I need to get them out alive. That's important. Riverman says, that is what I do. But see, I don't trust you government types. Too many bad run-ins. I need details before I even think about doing it. Cray says, fine. I won't lie. The mission is to extract an important U.S. asset being held in Luoyang prison. Riverman says, can't say I'm familiar, which is odd. Cray says, you haven't heard of it because it's in China. It's the most heavily guarded, high-value prison in China, located in the middle of a city, which has security cameras everywhere, and people willing to report anything out of line to their government. Nearly everyone on my security team has told me it's impossible to break anyone out of the prison once they're in. But you are the get-out guys, after all. I believe you told me you can break people out of anywhere because you are the best who ever lived. Riverman kind of nods his head and goes, in the US, sure. Bloody China? Oh, hell no, mate. I don't fuck with you foreign governments. Those bastards will execute you without giving you a proper chance at escaping. I won't put my team in that kind of danger. It's a fucking suicide mission, and I'm not one of those Belle Reve fuckers. Cray says, we're willing to pay you $16 million. Riverman says, bloody hell, 16 million? Cray nods. Riverman says, yeah, we'll do it. It's only China, right? I bet their prisons aren't too bad. Food's good. I like orange chicken. Cray says, right. This file contains everything you need to know about the prison. You should know that if you're captured, the US government will make no effort to save you. This is not sanctioned by the government. You will be a rogue operative. No one will come for you. Riverman says, sure, that's our usual gig. Cray says, once you've pulled the target out of prison, she will be in charge of the mission. You do whatever the fuck she says. She's an expert on infiltration and espionage. You can trust her judgment in any situation. Riverman says, you say that, but she did get snagged, didn't she? Cray says, she did, but circumstances were beyond her control. We had a rat. Riverman says, oh, rats. Yeah, I had problems with these myself. This rat of yours isn't going to be a problem, is he? Cray says, no. He had some poison. Riverman smiles and nods. Good. Then I think we have an understanding, mate. Cray says, I hope for your sake we do. Pull this off and you'll get the wealth mentioned, and likely future work, if you're interested. Riverman says, I do like future work. Trust me, mate. My guys are gonna be all over this. It's gonna be clean. We're gonna smash cut to the same shitty apartment. Eraser looks at him and says, have you lost your mind? It's China we're talking about. What good is some money if we're fucking dead? Rainbow Man says, it's not just some money. He hesitates, clearly thinking. $2 million each. Mirror Master says, you mean to tell me we're being paid $10 million for this job? Rainbow Man says, yeah, that's alright. Mirror Master says, that's more than me and the Rogues have ever pulled. Detonator says, you and the Rogues never pulled anything. The Flash got you every time. Mirror Master says, that's beyond a point. I'm willing to risk just about anything for $2 million. Eraser says, again, and I feel like I have to stress this. We're talking about fucking China. Jesus Christ, they'll execute you for anything. They have security cameras literally everywhere. It's insane. Rainbow Man says, We'll just have to be extra careful. Come on, we've done worse. Eraser says, no, oh, we haven't. Not even close. Again, this is China we're talking about. I don't think any of you get this. Rainbow Man says, I don't think you understand the meaning of $2 million each. Mindboggler says, I think it sounds fun. I've always wanted to visit Europe. Rainbow Man says, see, it's a vacation. Eraser says, it's robbing a foreign government. Rainbow Man says, the key word there is foreign. Think of it like a globe-trotting adventure. But you don't have to come with us, Eraser. You won't make the money, though. And I can't promise the senator won't do anything. Eraser says, what? Rainbow Man says, well, I mean, you do know the plan. For all he knows, you could blab to the Chinese. Hell, for all he knows, you're a communist. Shit, I bet he wouldn't even give you the chance. Too much of a risk. Eraser says, oh, I'm fucked. You fucked me, man. Why would you do this to me? Mindboggler says, oh, he did? I would pay to watch that. Oh, you should totally invite me next time. Eraser says, it was rhetorical. Mindboggler says, I don't care how you do it. I'm a freak. I'm game for whatever. Eraser says, Jesus Christ. Come on, Detonator, think about it. Certainly you don't want any part of this. Detonator says, that depends. Do I get to blow shit up? Rainbow Man says, probably. Detonator says, see, can't pass that up. Eraser looks around baffled. You're all fucking crazy. Fuck, fine, I'll go. Rainbow Man says, see, I knew you'd come around. When all this is over, you're going to thank me with $2 million in your hand. That's retirement cash. We could be done. Eraser says, so, how do we get there? Rainbow Man says, that's the best part. We're taking a ship. Shit's going to be luxurious. We're gonna hard cut to a rusty fishing boat in the middle of rough seas. We can see a cargo hold filled with squid. Some wiggle and move around. As the camera moves up, we can see the top of the ship. Chinese fishermen are consistently moving around the ship, moving things back and forth, and tossing squid into the pit. We see a racer in a yellow fishing jacket. His nose is all scrunched and he holds a towel up to it. Rain is lightly falling and they're all clinging to the railings. This ship occasionally rises and falls over big waves. We can see Detonator hurling over the side of the boat. Seasick. A luxurious boat, Eraser says. Rainbow Man says, well, I may have exaggerated a bit. Eraser says, a bit. Rainbow Man says, I'm a salesman at heart. Eraser says, more like a con man. Rainbow Man says, oh, thanks. Eraser says, I'm going below deck. Maybe the smell will be better. Rainbow Man says, that's nice, keeping it positive. Eraser flips him off and moves below deck. He makes his way down a rusty set of stairs. We can see dead squid stuck on the staircase occasionally. Eraser sighs. He enters a sort of employee lounge break area equivalent at the bottom of the staircase and flops into a chair next to a table covered in empty alcohol bottles. We can see one sailor drunkenly stooped on the side of the booth, and Mindboggler, who's laying on the other side of the couch. She sits up, revealing herself when she sees Eraser, who lets out a sigh of exhaustion seeing her. Mindboggler says, hey, Pencil Boy, good to see you again. Eraser says, hey, Mindboggler. She says, you know, you seem nice and all. I guess. I kind of found the pictures of you in the pencil outfit very disarming. So, can I ask you a question? Eraser says, is it gonna make me kill myself? Mindboggler says, I don't think so. My prison shrink told me having friends who I use my powers on wasn't healthy. News to me, but whatever. She said I should try to make friends without enslaving their minds with my power. I thought it would kind of stupid, but you know, she's the expert. Eraser says, okay. Mindboggler says, you know, except for the stupid pencil outfit, you look like you'd be the kind of guy to understand friendship. Eraser says, it was just one time. I wore it one time. Why won't everyone just forget it? Mindboggler says, it was pretty memorable. I guess what I'm wondering is, how do you make a friend? You know, without the power to remove their free will. Eraser says, make a friend? I guess you just talk to them? You talk to them about normal stuff until you both get to know each other. Just talk about what you like. Mindboggler says, that seems easy enough. So, like, I would ask you what your favorite way to kill someone is, and that would make us friends? Eraser says, sure, I guess so. Mindboggler says, so, What's your favorite way to kill someone? Eraser says, I don't really kill people. I mean, I haven't yet. Mindboggler says, awesome! So we're friends now. Eraser says, yeah, sure. Mindboggler says, wow, my first real friend. I'm gonna go make friends with all the other ones. See you later, Pencil Man. She sort of hops up and makes her way up to the upper deck. Eraser just looks around, genuinely baffled. He's clearly miserable, and he says, what the actual fuck? We're going to cut to the bow of the ship. We see the sun beginning to rise. Mirror Master stands looking out over the sunset, talking to Mindboggler. We see Detonator is now on his knees, still hanging over the side of the ship, seasick. Mirror Master says, my favorite way? That's actually a hard question. Probably the laser gun. Flash took it from me a while ago, but I used to use it to disintegrate people, like to ash. It was actually very satisfying. Mindboggler says, that's crazy. I've always wanted to disintegrate someone. Detonator looks up from hurling and says, it's overrated. Blowing someone up has got to be like 10 times better. It's bloodier, you know. Mirror Master says, you don't know what you're talking about. You've never committed a murder until you've disintegrated someone. Mindboggler says, you guys literally speak my language. We're going to be such good friends. We hear one of the sailors yell something over in Chinese and then gesture to Rainbow Man. He says something to Rainbow Man, who nods. Rainbow Man makes his way back up to the others. We're here. Welcome to China. We're going to cut to a nice apartment. We see a handsome young Chinese man getting into an Air Force uniform. We can see pictures on the wall of him surrounded by 5 other Air Force men and women. We can also see a framed propaganda poster for the mighty red rocket, written out in Chinese symbols, of course. He pins a medal to the front of his uniform. It looks like a red shooting star. He smiles almost sadly as he pins it on. He makes his way out of the room, and we see a woman cooking in a kitchen, making some kind of breakfast. She smiles when she sees him. This is his wife. Her name is Finn. She says, you look handsome. He gives her a half-hearted smile. This guy, whose name is Wei, he has a last name, but I'm just going to call him Wei for the sake of simplicity. Wei says, I don't know, Finn. Finn says, you're a national hero, Wei. They won't shut down the program. How could they? There would be riots. Wei says, maybe you're right. It's just, they've been looking for an excuse. The general called me in. He never does that. They usually forget the red rockets even exist. Finn says, you say this every time. They haven't done it yet, and they're not going to. Wei nods. Yeah, you're right, as always. She kisses him, and we hear crying of a baby from the other room. She says, oh, that's my call. You're going to be fine, love. I know it. And I didn't mention this, but all this dialogue would be in Chinese, clearly. I just don't speak Mandarin, and I'm not going to try, so forgive me for that. We're going to cut to a Chinese Air Force base. We see Wei enter a locker room of sorts. We can see 2 men and 2 women sitting in the room. They stand up and salute as he enters. He says, at ease, rockets. One of the men, whose name is Hao, says, any words, sir, on the meeting? Wei says, I only just got here. I'm sure it's nothing. One of the women, named Min, says, I bet they're sending us somewhere foreign. That's the only reason the general would call us in. The other woman says, foreign? I hope they have beaches wherever it is. Wei says, yes, I'm sure that's it. Hanzu, you're with me. The rest of you, be ready to move. The last of the rockets, who's been sitting quietly in the back, gets up and begins to follow Wei as he leaves the room. They begin to move down the hallway. Hanzu says, so what are you not telling the others? Wei says, nothing good. I've got a bad feeling. I don't know why he's calling us in, but it's not a foreign mission despite what the others think. Hanzu says, you don't think they're finally scrapping us? Wei says nothing, but his face says everything. Hanzu says, shit. Wei says, watch your language. The rockets don't curse. We're above that. Hanzu says, sorry, sir. I slipped. They reach a door, and Hanzu steps back. A woman opens it and allows Wei to enter. We see a man in a, I don't know what a general's outfit for the Chinese looks like, but that, lots of medals, very decorated. He stands and says, Wei Li, good to see you. Come in. Wei enters, and the door shuts behind him. Please, take a seat. Wei apprehensively takes a seat, and the general does the same. I'm going to cut right to the chase. It's not good news. I'm sorry, but the orders have come down. The Red Rockets are done. They think you failed your last mission. It was the nail in the coffin. Wei looked shocked. He knew it was coming, but still. We apprehended that target. That mission was a success. The general says, mind your manners, Wei. I don't want to have to write you up. You lost the drive. They could have cared less about the prisoner. She got that drive to someone and you failed to retrieve it. I don't disagree with you, but the higher-ups, they have their own way of thinking. I'm sorry. Wei says, so what happens? The general says, obviously, the Red Rocket Brigade is a thing of the past. I like you, Wei. I really do. So I'll be honest with you. We're going to keep you on as a figurehead of sorts. No more active combat or dangerous situations. They're going to make you a pretty decoration for propaganda and charities. A children's action hero to show the face of Chinese bravery. It's going to be a farce for you. Wei looks downright defeated. What about the rest of my team? The general says, the people do like the rockets. They really do. That's why we're keeping you. But the decision came down higher than me. The rest of them, they're going to have to go, getting the axe. They'll be sent elsewhere or given nice retirements. The whole program is getting axed away. You knew this was coming. A single drone can do in 10 minutes what you and your team could do in an hour. The times are changing, and it's time to move on. I wanted to talk to you first before I told the others. Wei nods. I appreciate that. I'll tell them. He's like holding back tears, clearly very upset, but he has to put on a strong face. The general says, I figured you'd want to. That's all, officer. You're dismissed. And for what it's worth, again, I'm sorry. We see Wei stand up and just cheerfully leave the office. We're going to cut to the sky. The camera moves down until we see a massive prison complex. It's got multiple layers of wall and barbed wire. Guards are moving everywhere. We can see cameras, laser grids, all kinds of high-tech stuff. The camera pans all the way through it until we see the Get Out guys standing on a city street across from it, looking at it. Rainbow Man says, oh, it's not that bad. Eraser looks at him but doesn't say anything. The camera pans past them, revealing a large office building, maybe 4 stories tall, just tall enough to see over the walls. Rainbow Man points to it. We need to secure that building, and no one can know what to do in it. From there, we can get the mirror shop where we need it to infiltrate. He steps up next to Mindboggler. All right, Mindboggler, time to earn your keep. Just like we discussed. Get rid of the people in there. We just need that building clear. Mindboggler says, I'm on it. She skips off towards the building and enters its doors. Mirror Master says, do you think she can really do it? Rainbow Man says, she's more than capable. She'll just have them all go into a bathroom or something. Once they're locked up, it's not really our problem. We're going to cut inside of the building. We see Mindboggler happily skip up to the front desk in an empty room. We see Mindboggler happily skip up to the front desk. It's just a lone, very modern looking desk in a room that's basically empty. Just the receptionist, a large company logo over the front. We can't see what it says because it's in Chinese. The receptionist looks up and sees her. She says, Ni hao zuo xin mi beng zuwa, which is my best approximation of Chinese for hello, how can I help you? Mindboggler trying to tilt her head. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't speak Korean. The receptionist nods but looks confused. She says, oh, it's okay, I speak some English. How can I help you? Mindboggler says, oh, I just have one question. I'm new here in your country, and I don't know how to say all the common phrases in your language yet. How do you say kill yourself? The receptionist now tilts her head. What? Mindboggler says, how do you say kill yourself in your weird funny language? The receptionist looks confused but says, Zisha? Mindboggler says, oh, thanks, Zisha. The words echo out of her mouth. The receptionist stands awkwardly and then picks up a pair of scissors from the desk and begins to repeatedly stab herself in the eye until she falls to the floor in a bloody heap. Mindboggler begins to skip down the hall, entering the main building. We hear the song Mind-Boggling by Come On play. She enters the room with several employees and makes a loud noise. Excuse me. Everyone looks at her confused. She says, Zisha! Happily, and then begins to skip through the room. The words echo in the air. All of the employees begin to stand up. Several begin to slam their heads against the walls, floors, and desks, slowly butchering their own brains out of their skull. We see one make his way to the paper cutter, which is like that thing with blades. He lays his own head inside of it, then slams the blade down, cutting off his own head. We see a couple more killing themselves with pens and pencils in the background. Mindboggler just keeps smiling as she walks through the room. People are killing themselves all around her, blood flying everywhere. She reaches the elevator, she presses the up button, and the elevator slowly comes down. We can hear and see people dying in the background as she hums to herself. The elevator dings open, and we can see someone else is in there. She screams when she sees all the dead people, then backs into the corner of the elevator. Mindboggler skips in, then clicks the up button to go to the next floor. She looks over at the woman in the corner. Mondays, right? The woman looks baffled. The elevator starts to move up, and there's a sort of awkward moment as the elevator music plays. Mindboggler slaps her head. Oh yeah, Zisha. The words echo in the air. The woman sits straight up, then slams the mirror in the back of the elevator with her fist. She picks up one of the massive shards of glass on the floor and begins to slit her own throat. Her body flops to the floor, spraying blood across the elevator. Mindboggler doesn't really seem to care. The elevator doors ding open. We can see probably 15 people in the room there. Mindboggler says, "Hello, everybody. Look over here. Does anyone speak English?" All of the workers look confused. Finally, one guy raises his hands. Mindboggler says, "Oh, awesome. How many people work here?" The guy looks very confused and answers, "About 60. Mindboggler starts counting them on her head. "Okay, like 30 more." She says, "Awesome, thanks. Normally I'd let you live and ask to be friends, but I already found a couple, so sorry about this, but Zisha." The words begin to echo into the room. Again, everyone in the room just starts killing themselves. We see her translator walk over to a full steaming pot of coffee. He slams the coffee pot over his head, shattering it and impaling his head with several large pieces of glass. He falls over the ground and blood everywhere. Another walks into the bathroom and just flops his head down in the toilet, drowning himself. Another guy is butchering himself with a stapler. He keeps stabbing and stapling himself over and over again until he's beaten to a bloody pulp. A woman picks up her computer, then slams it on top of her head. We can see blood run down the side of her neck and from the inside of the television. Again, Mindboggler doesn't even really seem to care. The music begins to reach its crescendo. And I did mention the song is playing the whole time. If you listen to the song, it'll really help sell the scene. It's super upbeat and happy, and it fits the scene absolutely perfectly. Trust me, go drop it a listen and you'll get what I'm talking about. Link is in the comments. We see the last guy slowly move his way towards the side of the building and hurls himself through a glass pane. We follow his body until it plummets right into the concrete at the bottom of the building, in front of the rest of the ghetto guys. As soon as the body slams into the ground, the music stops. Mirror Man says, "What the bloody hell?" Mirror Master says, "The fuck is she doing in there?" Mirror Man says, "Well, we're going to go find out. Eraser, get rid of that one." Eraser says, "I thought I was past this." He sighs and walks over to the body, touches it, and a bright green glow explodes from it, and then it vanishes. Only blood stains remain on the concrete. We see the rest of the Get Out guys enter the building. They see a horror show of blood and gore in front of them. Oh, this is a problem. Eraser says, I can't erase all of these. It takes time. What the fuck did she do in here?" Rubber Man says, "Remember how I said there wasn't a time crunch? Well, now there is. We're fucked." And that's where I'm going to end the first act with a ridiculous Mindboggler action scene. A little gory, a little horrible. That's what you can expect from the script going forward. Alright, I'm going to the outro. There, it's done. First act, out of the way, okay? Are you happy? There, I did it, okay? No, don't anyone else be getting ideas now about binding me by Beetlejuice rules, okay? I don't like this 3 times and I'm forced to do whatever you say thing, okay? Look, when Osmond Brocken put that law on me 50,000 years ago at the dawn of Agartha, I didn't like it then, alright? But at least I was like, you know, most humans were dead because of the ancient plague I ridden on the earth. But now you guys have figured it out again, okay? They weren't supposed to be able to translate those tablets. I don't know how this guy in my comments did that. And look, I just don't want to be bound anymore, so please, alright? Just let an ancient immortal evil being exist without being bound. Thank you. Alright, I'm gonna go back to enjoying my endless void of horrors. So, y'all enjoy, I don't know, whatever you're gonna do. Halloween tomorrow? What a joke, man. Alrighty, I'll see you on the next one. When I finish this ancient binding spell, so I can move on to stuff I actually want to write.